Hey everyone, welcome to Reading the Green and our golf DFS show. My name is Mike, on audio with Kyle and Jordan on Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023. This is our kickoff for the refreshed DFS golf season. I'm super pumped, guys. How you guys doing?
Great. I'm ready for golf.
Excited.
You know what feels really great is when you get like a foot of snow in Minnesota on a day like today, and then in 48 hours we're going to watch these guys in Hawaii, and I'll just be like, I don't understand why I live here and they get to play golf there.
What, you don't like the snow and now freezing rain, and then we go back to snow later tonight, and that we won't be able to physically step foot on a golf course for another 4 months? What?
Yeah. Mike, did you notice how the top layer of the snow had a crunch now because the rain was freezing on top of it?
I did notice that, and this is going to be really problematic for a lot of things tomorrow. I did book my first hour in a simulator later this week, so I am excited to get a club back in my hands. It's been a few months.
Yeah, when is the RTG simulator time? I mean, I thought we just had a standing one for this winter, guys. It says the guy who doesn't have access to one.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find a way. We'll find a way, Kyle. We'll make sure we got it. The thing is, we got to do it in advance because they got to put extra padding up around the simulator when we show up. So,
yeah, fair enough. That's only happened like once. I haven't broken anything.
I know. All right, this episode we got the Sentry Tournament of Champions preview. That's really the big nugget, and then maybe just a little bit of chatter about what the year is going to hold for us as golfers and sports bettors and whatnot. I had one hot take before we get to that, and I just texted it to you guys right before we started. But Smiley Kaufman is being hired now full time by NBC. I'm not sure in what capacity exactly he's going to be on TV much more this year. But I think it's funny. So he's what? He's like 30. He's the same vintage as Spieth and Fowler and those guys. And he basically is the odd guy out, right? His playing career went nowhere. But he's really popular as a broadcaster. And so I think it's funny when you look at guys that had really successful broadcasting careers. Like, let's take Brandel Chambly, for example, who was like a journeyman tour pro, but like didn't really do much. And you're just like, man, like, what was this guy like as a PGA Tour player? And you realize that they just washed out and then became broadcasters. And it's just funny that that's what we're seeing with Smiley Kaufman. He may be a great broadcaster, but he was nothing as a PGA Tour pro. And it's kind of funny to see that happening in real time.
So I'm going to need some more background here as somebody who casually watched golf until about 6 years ago. I don't know as much about Smiley Kaufman's playing background.
Well, there isn't much. I think he play at we're gonna look this up on the fly. Oh, I don't have internet. That's why I'm on audio. I thought he played with one of those guys. I don't know if he played at Alabama or with JT, but maybe one of you guys can get the Wikipedia going. But he basically was in the the spring break boys. We played at LSU. That's right. But he's basically just like Instagram stars with those guys when they were doing their Bahamas things and all that. Yet he just didn't win. He didn't really play all that well on tour and kind of disappeared. But he's been tagging along, and now he's got a broadcasting career.
Not a bad pivot.
It's not a bad pivot. That's what someone on Instagram was just like. He's just going to travel the world for as long as he wants and make a lot more money than the average American. So,
yeah,
he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
And he has a PGA Tour win.
Okay, so one win.
One win.
He played in the Sentry Tournament of Champions at one point.
Yes. 2015. Had a W.
All right. Well, let me ask you guys this question since we're starting the new year. Let's start with as golfers. What do you resolve to do or not do in your respective golf games this year?
Go ahead, Jordan. You get to start.
Well, my first one is in honor of Mike, and it's upping my golf shoe game. He laughed at me for having one pair, so I had to immediately go out and buy another pair. and then he sent me a picture, and we both bought the same pair.
I'm actually going to return mine and go with the other ones, not because we bought the same ones, but that's just what I'm going to do. But what you bought are pretty sweet.
You guys had the same pair? I didn't.
Yeah, you should get.
No,
you get
we just bought.
Just happen.
Let's all have matching shoes, guys.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Oh man, yeah, Jordan, a pair of Nike Air Max 90 golf shoes. What I said was maybe not the most functional, but definitely the sweetest looking.
Yeah, they're gonna help my golf game a lot. But the real one is I just want to golf more. My goal is to always golf more rounds than I did the year before. I think I can make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be tough at some point, I would think. But hey, I enjoy it.
Yep.
What do you got, Kyle?
Talking with my hands and I knocked my mic off. Can you still hear me?
We can.
Okay. I'm gonna break 90. It's gonna happen.
All right.
That's a big one.
I will be happy. I wasn't there for that, Kyle. I hope I'm there. Because what do you think it's gonna be? Like, what about your when you shoot 89? What did you do in that round that allowed you to do that?
Well, let's take everyone back to my best round last year, which I ended up with 93, and we started on the back and ended on hole 9, which was a par 5 at that time. So all I had to do was bogey 9, and I would have been there, and I got a 10, including
so
2 out of
the
bounds.
big numbers.
and 2 out of bounds. Avoid the big numbers. Yeah.
Go to a sports psychologist to help you when the pressure's on.
Well, hey, and actually that occurrence, it wasn't my fault. My playing partner / caddy that day, my brother, led me astray. He didn't tell me, hey, you can't hit your drive down the middle here because there's a steep slope that'll kick it right, and that's going to go into a bunker, he said. Well, it didn't go into that bunker. It somehow bounded over that bunker into the out of bounds. And then at my second tee shot was just a head case hooked it left. But so to answer your question though, Mike, that day, yes, avoided the big numbers. And when I'm playing well, it is hitting my 5-iron well. If I have a club I can reliably hit from 180 out, I score a lot better.
All right. Well, you know what you got to work on then. I like that.
Yeah.
What's yours, Mike?
Let's see. I didn't play. I had a weird season in 2022. I played 15 rounds. I think most of those came after September 1st. I didn't play anything competitive. The most competitive thing I did was the RTG Invitational. So my resolution is I would really like to play in one just seemingly competitive event, whether it's a club event that I get invited to or some kind of match. Maybe Fantasy Golf Pod will finally get that set up, but something like that I think would be high on my list this year. I don't think I'm going to be playing a lot of other recreational golf.
What's the round target for you?
I think if I played 15 rounds again, that would be pretty good. The good news is I'll have all the shoes I need to kind of evenly distribute out over the summer.
One pair per, each pair gets one round.
I'm getting closer to that number, which is kind of interesting, but it'll turn around. This is just not the time to do it. But anyways, how about this? Okay, Kyle, let's go back around. What about as a sports bettor or DFS player? What's on your bucket list, or what do you resolve to do?
I'm gonna ship a GPP this year. It's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like that. That's a good one. Even a little guy would feel really nice, right?
Yeah, even a little quarter guy, I'll take it. Just step it up, but that $10 single entry, that works too.
Yeah. Jordan, I know I know you're maybe not as much into the DFS week to week, but
my biggest goal is to submit a lineup for every time that I reserve a spot this year.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I set up the league, whatever, Mondays or Tuesdays, and then I hit draft later, and then some days I forget to submit it. So 0 point weeks for me. That's my goal.
Nice. You want to know what mine is? Mine is to I'd really like to win more RTG name games this year. It's really bugging me when I went back through the stats of how Jordan dominated us, and I don't even know. I mean, I even look back at the RSM. You guys weren't even there, and I assigned you teams, and Jordan still won.
Wait, so, I did? All right. What was the final tally from last year?
Well, we can get to that later, but I believe it was about, you had 7 wins, and that was more than double anyone else. So, yeah, we got to figure that out.
That is such a Jordan thing to win.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kyle.
Yeah.
It is. All right. Well, let's
one more thing there, Mike. So, let's take this one step further. What's one golfer from a PGA DFS perspective you feel you'll be underweight on to the industry over the course of the year?
And
if you need a moment, I can answer first.
No, I had one in mind. I think it still works. I thought you were gonna say that I want to be right when he gets it done, and I was gonna say Thagala. But I think it still applies, because I think he's someone I'm gonna have such a tough time playing, and he's going to be really loved. Week to week, he's going to be really loved by the pros out there. And I know I'm going to miss when he finally gets his W.
I like that take. And I think this will even surprise you a little bit, but I was listening to a couple of season preview pods over the last 2 weeks. And, one name that popped in my mind that I feel like I probably play a lot less than others, and that some of their season-long drafts was a guy that might even went third a lot, which I don't think I could take top 5, is JT. I like JT. I don't mind watching him. I don't think he's the number 3 or number 4 golfer from a DFS perspective if I had to handicap a whole season. And things will change if he gets hot, but right now, I bet you I take less of him than the industry.
He's tough to pay for week to week, and there's a lot of weeks he doesn't show up, and that's tough when you got to probably pay $10K for him every week he's out there.
Yeah, do you think? And he's such a big name that he won't come down if he's struggling a bit. Won't come down.
No, when he's rarely in a field, and I don't know enough about his schedule. Look at some of those events where you could play Rahm, and Rahm was how big of a favorite. I think in Mexico last year. JT's not in these events where he is by far better than everybody else. And I don't know how he built his schedule that way versus what are some of the other ones? We've seen Rory in spots where you're like, oh my God, he's 3 times better than the next person on the odds board. So, we don't see JT like that. And so I think you're usually having to play him against other guys that have as much win equity as him.
Anyone in your mind, Jordan?
Golfers.
Is yours? I'm going to play more Brian Harmon.
No, I need short courses for BH to play well. You know who I'm probably not going to have much of? Tom Hoagie. All year.
Oh, well, hey, hang on to that thought. We'll get to that in the Sentry preview here. But okay, so let's transition. Actually, before we get to that, I can't see you guys, but I am drinking Galactic Falconer from Junkyard, and this is arguably, I think, their flagship IPA, which for some reason they don't really distribute regularly. So you only see it a few times a year in the Twin Cities, but Junkyard, Moorhead, Minnesota, it's incredible, and I wish I could get it more often.
So good.
I enjoyed Junkyard. Well, for those of us that listen, or those listeners that listened to us last year, I like to partake in Dry January a little bit, but I am opening. It's been sitting here for a whole hour now. But Bauhaus Brew Labs, it's a non-alcoholic hazy pale ale. So over the next 4 weeks, you get to see me review non-alcoholic beers.
There are some good ones. I like that one. So I think that's a good choice, and I look forward to your selections.
It's
face. He's making a bad face, Mike. I know
it's not a junkyard. It's not. I mean, it's a lot better than some of them, but it's not a junkyard. That's for sure.
Sure.
Yes, and I don't participate in dry January, but I just try and stop drinking for as long as I can after the new year. And this is day 3, so we'll see how long it lasts. But I had a nice glass of water.
You guys are so much fun.
I drank way too much in December. December.
We need a little reset. And hey, it makes the February episodes that much more fun when Jordan and I are drunk after 2 beers.
Yes.
Well, let's have a little fun, Jordan. I want you to recount your time at Kapalua Plantation Course in Maui, because that's where the big boys will be this week. What do you know about this course?
Well, it's been 5 years, and I'm about the same handicap, but I feel like I'm a lot better golfer than I was then, which is sad. It's funny how that
you have better clubs now and better shoes.
I do have better clubs, much better clubs. But the previous clubs were only 5 years old at the time, not 10 years like they got to. No, I mean, it's a beautiful course. The views are stunning. The plantation is like up. It's not on the water, but it's like up on a hill, so you can see overlooking the water all the time. I actually think if you ever go there and we want to play the prettier course, the Bay course it's on the water. Mm. You're hitting over the ocean 2 or 3 times. So there's your word of advice. It's cheaper. So if you ever want to get on and don't want to pay the crazy Kapalua rates, the Bay course is prettier than Plantation. But it's just, I mean, it was fun. It's Hawaii golf is fun. Knowing that the pros play there is fun. Would I play it again? Absolutely.
That's I like that. I like that hot take about the Bay course. Is the 18th hole, is the tee shot on the 18th hole, isn't it like straight downhill? Is it as ridiculous as it looks on TV?
Yes.
You're like on top of a mountain, basically.
Yeah. Tiger hit the longest tee shot in the shot link era of I don't remember the exact yardage. It was a long ways.
Yeah, I think I skied mine or sliced it. It wasn't I didn't take advantage of the downhill. That's for sure.
So next question for Jordan is, so we have the widest fairways on tour. What was your fairways and regulations percentage?
Oh, set 90, 95, probably not. It was a lot. It's not like I like to mash my driver, and I usually hit it fairly well. So there were a lot of fairways found. And then I found a lot of bunkers and ravines on the second shot.
But that's how resort golf should be. Like, it should allow you to just play, get in, play off the tee. And so I like that. And it's obviously what leads us to scores like what we had last year, which was minus 34 or something like that. Do you guys know who won last year? Kyle, you remember?
I don't think he is with us anymore.
All right. Well, all we know is that minus 34, record-setting performance by some guy that haven't thought twice about.
Yeah, some guy, but that some guy did win me a bet, so I was correct here last year.
Probably still the biggest bummer for me in the whole Liv saga. I will be honest. He's kind of the guy I like watching play, but so it goes.
Now you can watch him on YouTube.
Yeah. British Open highlights. That's what you're talking about, I assume. 17 of the top 20 OWGR players in this event. So obviously a strong field. You had to win last year, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. You had to win, but yet when I was going through the players in the field this week, I was having a tough time remembering tournaments that these guys won. Like I don't remember what Cam. It did change?
Yeah. Yep. So since it's an elevated event, you either had to win or be finished top 30.
Oh, okay. So that's why guys like Cameron Young, because I don't think he's won yet, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, and Tagala obviously is in the field.
So it's not the Tournament of Champions anymore?
Tournament of
Yeah,
Champions are really good players that didn't win.
Cool.
That's a great. That might be the title of the pod. That's a great way to title this golf tournament.
Okay.
All right. Well, and then no cut, which is going to only mean one thing as far as who you're playing. Course is super long, 7,600 yards. Par 73 is only 3 par 3s. And like we said, though, very generous off the tee. And you're going to see guys mash and drives, and effectively it will become a wedge and putting contest. Other thoughts on the tournament or the course? Otherwise, Kyle, I'd love to see how the model is shaping up.
Yeah, we're getting ready for a birdie fest here. The one last note I had, you hit on it, Mike, with mash the driver and hit the wedge. But just to put a little numbers behind that, most of the approach shots are less than 125 yards out, and it had the most approach shots on tour of from 50 to 100. So,
wow,
guys that can even take less than wedge. This might be who you're looking at, but the other thing is, because it is so long, it also has a lot of approach shots from plus 200. So not as much from that 125 to 200 range.
Interesting. So no Kyle 5 irons, just
no Kyle 5 irons. So going over to the model, we're led so far by Sung Jae. He has a 50% mention share at this point in time, and really strong on that MPI 82. They come in at $8,300 this week. Patrick Cantlay, who has some great course history here, is 44% on the mention share, along with Xander Schauffele and John Rahm, also at 44%. Those two, Xander, for being Mr. No Cut, as you referenced earlier, Mike, yeah, he's not so strong on the MPI at this point in time. So something to keep an eye on there. Rahm pretty solid at 61. And then we have a grouping after those four at 38% mention share. I'll just throw their names out, and then we can bounce around from there. But Aaron Wise, JT, Seamus Power, and Victor Hovland.
All right. Well, lots of star power to choose from. That's all we got. What do you think, Kyle? Who's your core?
That's a very tough question this week. As you mentioned, a lot of star power, a lot of guys we haven't seen in a long time. And I think it's more of a process of an elimination for me this week, is like, hey, the guys I don't necessarily want at this course, or there's maybe some question marks around their game. So, for example, as much as it pains me to say it, Will Zalatoris is the guy I love to click on, especially when he's in the 8K range. He's 8,900 this week. But last time we saw him, he was hurt, and he's just not a guy I like to play at Birdie Fest. So that's kind of my main focal point this week, is kind of more of a who do I not want to play, and then kind of seeing who's left from there. But I'm going to start a lot of lineups with John Rahm, 10K. He played really well in the fall swing, but not necessarily in the fall swing people are watching. He had played a lot overseas, so I think he maybe can fly under the radar a little bit, and he's pretty strong on the mention power. Some of the DK Nation articles are on him, at the Athletics on him, Number Fire and Mike McClure, who has really been known to pop it sometimes. So that's where I'm going to start, Mike. Where are you starting?
Well, I don't know. Have you guys know about the QBE shootout? You familiar with that golf tournament?
Afraid not.
I've heard of it. Did not watch any of it, unfortunately.
Was that at the Pirates Cove in Fort Lauderdale?
Exactly. This was the one that this was the 2-person scramble alternate shot best ball deal that Greg Norman had been running for 38 years, and whoever tournament organizer asked him to stop being the chairman of the tournament because of the whole live deal. But it still went on, and it was still a thing in December of this year that nobody watched, including me. But do you know who won the QBE shootout? It was the duo.
Max Homa,
Sahith Theegala, and Tom Hoge.
I thought he played with the LPGA player.
I think some of the gals play in it, but it's you don't have to. But Tom Hoge, $6,500 this week. And I know, Kyle, you're saying someone's got to be $6,500 this week. Why not Tom Hoge? And it's just travesty after travesty that I have to see this guy in the $6,000 range when, he's a masterful wedge player, and all he has to do, I mean, Gaiman wrote him up big time as far as the rate at which he is gaining whatever this new sabermetric in golf is around opportunities and plus opportunities, and basically how often he has birdie putts from inside of 15 feet. One of the best on tour in that. All he has to do is have an average putting week, and I think he's in the top 5. So I actually want to start with salary relief with Tom Hoge at $6,500. I'm not sure if it's going to get a bunch of ownership because he's that cheap, but I want to start there. I like Xander just because it's no cut. He just seems to always find his way into the top 10 and those types of things. And then a lot of people really like Victor Hovland this week, who also, like John Rahm, had a very good fall playing where he did. But I actually will pivot off of Vic and go for our current power index leader, Matt Fitzpatrick. 0 course history in Hawaii, but somebody who showed the ability to play well in all facets of the game, which I think will lend itself well at a course like this. So Fitzpatrick, Hoge, Schauffele.
So I expected Hoge to maybe be mentioned there, crazy enough. But to lend a little credence to Mike's pick, some of the comp courses to Kapalua are kind of weird, I guess I would say. But there's been some strong correlation over the last couple of years to the John Deere Open, so Deere Run, funny enough, but then also Pebble Beach, where obviously Tommy Tables has had 2 strong showings in a row and a W last year, even though Pebble has really small greens, but Bermuda grass, have to fight some wind sometimes and a bit of a wedge fest. So I can see it. He will not be one of my core 3 plays, but I can see it. So, and I have more to say about Tom later in the show. But to round out my other 2 picks, I'm gonna have a lot of Sungjae, 8,300, leading our mention share at this point in time, strong MPI and some good course history here. And then I have to find some value somewhere. Don't really love going below the 8K range this week, but you're gonna have to find a guy and plant your flag. So I'm gonna stick to that Deere Run top course comp and go with JTP, the boy that won me a lot of money last year.
I thought when you made the Deere Run comment, I thought that's where you were going to be going, and I'm happy to see it. I like him a lot too. I think you got to find somebody that's going to. I mean, the same thing with Cam last year. You're gonna make a ton of birdies to get to 34 under, and that Poston has the ability to just pile up the birdies, and it's because he just pops with the putter every now and then. And this is a course where you will definitely be rewarded for that because I have a ton of birdie looks. So I look for 6,800. I think he's a great 6K play.
Nice. So I'm going the opposite of you guys. I'm going against MPI. I realized with all 4 of my picks, or all are 15 or below. I was going to go with the 3, but then I realized, oh wait, all 4 of the picks are the ones that the model hates the most, but also have a lot of mention share. I'm never not going to pick Xander in a no cut event. Xander's at the top of my lineup. Then we've got some cheaper plays with Aaron Wise and Seamus Power, both at 39% mention share, but really bad MPI. So, fingers crossed that they play better. And your Hovland one, he was going to be my 3rd or my 4th here as well. But he's getting a 0 mention power index. Obviously that can change when we get some more articles in, but I'm going a little contrarian, but focusing on mention share, not MPI.
Seamus Power actually has had the events that he has played recently. He has a number of top 10s. He just falls off the face of the earth sometime, and I don't really get it. But his form is very good. So I think there is a lot of love for him this week, and that's warranted. All right. Kyle, I realize we didn't really prep tiers, so
And-
I don't. Do you have thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think tiers are the place to stay away this week. Such a small field. It's gonna be tough. But well, where do you want to go next, Mike? Do you want to take a crack at the name game, or do you want me to highlight the bets?
If you can do name games, since you teased it that you had a thought, I'd love to gain some ground on Jordan here. Just as a New Year's resolution, I'd love to gain some ground on Jordan.
I would as well. I think I might have been dead last year. But we realized, full disclosure to the listeners, we realized as we started the show, neither of us had prepared a name game, and I had a whiff of an idea. So I was like, oh, hey, yeah, I got it. I'll have it ready by the time we get there. I do have it ready. It didn't quite work out how I hoped. It took me a lot more time as we've been recording here. So if you've been watching the videos, kind of what I've been working on the side. But our name game is going to morph a little bit into an age game this week. I recently, like I mentioned, I was taking in some pods from the industry recently, and some of the ages of players really surprised me. So I got to wonder, in a field like this, can I come up with 3 teams made up with a player in their 20s, a player in their 30s, and a player in their 40s?
No wonder this took you so long.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought I could just find a list with ages. That was hard. But anyway, so, and then turns out I only could find 2 players in the 40s. So one has an upper 30 and a lower 30. But anyway, so do you guys know how old Sung Jae is?
Ooh.
24.
No, he's gotta be old. He's gotta be old. He's gotta be. I'm gonna say 27.
He's young.
He's 24. Jordan, good work.
Oh, geez.
He's surprisingly young.
What about Hideki?
31.
37.
30.
Oh, he seems like he's been around forever.
Sepp Straka.
He's got to be like 28.
40.
I would have
Oh.
said older too. He's 29. Yeah.
I just thought you did a 20, then you did a 30. I thought you'd go with a 40 then to match up with the game.
So a couple more here, and then I'll read off the teams. But Adam Scott.
Well, he's 42.
37.
He's 42. That's one of our 40-year-olds. The other 40-year-old in the field is Ches Reavie at 41.
Wow.
So the 3 teams you get to select from, and Jordan, you're going to have to go last. And that seems to work out for you, but whatever.
Yeah,
You're going
perfect.
next. So team 1, at the age 24, you have Sung Jae. You have Corey Connors at the age of 30, and you have Adam Scott at the age of 42. Team 2, you have Sepp Straka at 29, Patrick Cantlay at 30, and Scott Stallings at 37. That's the next oldest person I can find. And then Team 3, Sihith Theegala at 25, Hideki at 30, and Ches Reavie at 41. What do you got, Mike?
I think the answer here is I want Team 1, Sung Jae, Connors, Adam Scott.
And we're adjusting this for dollars, correct?
Nope.
I don't know that we have to.
We really should
No.
have we should have defined what that model is in the last 3 months.
Yeah, maybe. No, it's just straight up. It's straight up. It's the TOC
Yeah, they're
plus
all
some other
playing.
guys.
They're all playing 4 days, just total points.
I am going to take Cantlay, Straka, and Scott Stallings,
Reasonable.
and that will give Jordan Sahith Theegala, Hideki, and Ches Reavie.
He gets his Jordan gets his swag guy, Ches Reavie.
And Sahith, he likes to play Sahith.
Yeah, okay. I see what you guys did there. One of you wanted to get a win, so you gave me the 3 crappy golfers that cost like a total of $15,000.
This does kind of feel like we're out to get you, but I had nothing to do with it, so I'm just happy to take advantage.
I made this during the show, so I try to make it as close as possible. I don't know.
All good.
All right, Kyle. If one was so inclined to place outright bets on something like this, exhibition golf, if you will, what would you recommend?
I might look at taking golfers that I think have some upside and pretty good numbers, looking at DK Sportsbook, but that I might not play as much of in DFS. So Hideki at 35-1, just because it's a great number, given his talent. He's played well in Hawaii before. A lot of unknowns with his game right now, his injury, whatnot, but that's why I want to bet on him and not play him in DFS. Jordan Spieth, boom or bust. I feel like he could win this. He could finish 39th. I got him at 28. And then two guys that are probably, have a little bit more steam, but at Victor Hovland at 18 and Sung Jae at 18. I can't really get myself to go below that, so try to find some guys that I thought still had decent value at their number, but could certainly see them winning this week. So those four guys to win, top 10 and first round leader, like I like to do. I didn't find a fifth, and I took 2 units on Victor. So for my last 2 1-unit bets, I just took a couple place bets. Tom Hoagie, top 10 plus 400, and JTP, top 10 plus 500.
These feel like pretty solid numbers in a 40-person event for those two guys that certainly have the ability to pop and crack the top 10. So I like both of those plays. All right, good stuff. I'm excited. I'm excited to see some real golf on TV a little bit, and a little bit of a reprieve from the winter wonderland that it is outside here in Minnesota. So
yeah, heck yeah.
Hawaii, great
definitely.
You can watch it like in bed at night.
I know. Yeah, that's a great point. It's this is gonna start about 3 months of just dying to get outside to play some golf. So I do look forward to it, but it is a little painful at the same time.
Yeah, and
all right,
Mike, something we should have led the show with, but kind of forgot till now. But hey, we are running a one and done this year. We've been tweeting about it in our Twitter. So check that out. If you have any questions, reach out to any of us, but please get signed up for that. All the details are on the RTG Twitter account.
Yeah, we'd love to have our most loyal listeners involved in that, and we will be certainly hassling some of the folks we know to get signed up, because I think it's gonna be super fun. You hear a lot about it, and I'm excited to try my hand. All right, well, we will be back in a week to talk about the Sentry Tournament of Champions, and then we'll start on effectively the beginning of the 2023 PGA Tour season at the Sony Open. You can find our content on our YouTube channel, on our Twitter feed at RTG Podcast DFS, any major podcast platform. I think you should probably expect that we'll have a little bit extra Twitter content this week as we get things kicked off and make sure everyone knows what we're all about. And I look forward with the guys here to talking about golf every Tuesday for the rest of the year. See ya.